Welcome to Earl Stewart on Cars.
First of all, let's go to Jiffy Lube, and there's Quick Lube and Fast Lube. This is one of the biggest businesses around. You can get your car lubricated on any street corner. It seems like they're like banks and gas stations. And none of them make any money selling oil. That's the irony. They're all supposed to be oil change places, but they make all their money, which is to sell you extra services, many of which you don't need. And the simplest answer to how to avoid being taken advantage of when you come into a place, be it Jiffy Lube or a car dealership. Car dealerships will often offer free lubrication, so free oil change, or an oil change for $14.95 or $19.95. It costs the dealer probably $20 to change the oil if he does a proper job with a proper oil filter and somewhat qualified technician and using the right kind of oil. So when you see an oil change for $14.95 or free, you want to realize that they're going to want to make money on you before you go home. And one way they sell you things like fuel filters and PVC filters and transmission fluid changes and flushes. One of their favorite things is engine flushes and radiator flushes and transmission flushes. And what you do is you get your owner's manual for your car. And the manufacturer is pretty accurate about what should be done to the car. They do not pack on a lot of services you don't need. Read your car's owner's manual, particularly the recommended maintenance. And then you'll know exactly what you should or should not buy when you go into an independent shop like Jiffy Lube or to your dealer, because the dealers do the same thing that Jiffy Lubes do. They have what they call their recommended maintenance. Well, it sounds pretty good, a Chevrolet dealer recommended maintenance, but that's not what you want to find out. You want to find out what's General Motors recommended maintenance for your model of Chevrolet. And typically, every 5,000 miles or 6 months, sometimes it varies a little bit, there will be a recommended service. Most frequent thing you want to have done, of course, is your oil and oil filter change. Now, there's something else that you have to be careful of. There are times when aftermarket parts, those are parts that are not manufactured by your car's manufacturer, by somebody else, are acceptable. And there's some very good, alternative parts. But to be safe, unless you really want to go through the trouble of the research, try to buy OEM parts, original equipment manufactured parts. And this includes oil filters. There's some real cheap oil filters out there. And some of these discount oil change places will use these cheap oil filters. And you would think an oil filter is pretty basic, but you'd be surprised the technology that goes into developing some of these. When in doubt, use the manufacturer's part, not an aftermarket part. These parts oftentimes are built all over the world. And a lot of these independent companies, in fact, sometimes dealers will buy the cheaper parts. I would always specify wherever I had my car service, independent service department or dealer, I wanted to say I want all the parts that you use, including things like the oil filter, use the original equipment manufacturing part. And if you really are skeptical, say I want to see the box. After you put that part on there, it's a parts box. Say I want to see that oil filter was bought from Honda, not from Acme company somewhere that you never heard of and you don't know whether it's to the manufacturer's specs. Matter of fact, oftentimes, if you read the fine print on an oil change advertisement, it'll say exclusive of filter. Well, you don't want to have your oil change without a filter change. That would be silly. You always change your oil filter when you change the oil. Then it'll say things plus hazardous waste disposal fee. They have a number of name for it. It's kind of like a dealer fee when you have your car serviced. So you don't know what that amount is. It could be $5. It could be $10. The advertised price of oil changes, even when it truly is a bargain, is just to get you in the door so they can sell you the things that you don't need. Just be sure you know what you do need and what you don't need, and the answer to that is by reading your owner's manual. And when they say they want to change your filter, just say, okay, but show me the filter first. Even if you don't know what to look for, you're going to intimidate them to the point where they'll probably be honest with you. But anytime you have any part replaced, you should always ask for the replacement part. Now you say, what do I want with that, and what am I going to do with it? It isn't so much what you're going to do with it or what you can tell by looking at it. It's the fact that you ask for it. They don't know that you're not, an amateur mechanic. They don't know that you don't know exactly what to look for. And when you ask for that replacement part, it accomplishes a lot. It intimidates them against trying to try any funny business with you. And you can always put it in the trunk of your car. When you go home, throw it away. But you've accomplished something just by asking for that part they took off your car.